The horror didn't end. The next moment made Andrew's scalp tingle. The three soldiers continuously shot at the monster with their submachine guns. Through the 8 times magnification of Andrew's optical telescope, he could barely see the faint red light on the monster's body, canceling out the flying bullets. Only a few bullets hit the monster's thigh, seemingly causing pain and anger. It let out a piercing and unpleasant scream, flying towards the soldiers amid the spore bullets. That moment was like what was said in legends, a sudden flash. After it moved, Andrew noticed that under the monster's claws, there was a corpse that had been broken into 3 sections and no longer resembled a human. The red and white intestines wriggled and flowed down from the white outie. Andrew suddenly felt his stomach cramp, and he almost vomited. But an even bloodier scene forced the food in his throat to be swallowed again. The monster used its 2 large pincers to clamp the soldiers who hadn't escaped. With a snap, it separated the 2 living people into 2 pieces, falling to the ground. One of the soldiers who hadn't yet died propped himself up with his hands on the ground, dragging his broken torso and leaking intestines, desperately crawling towards the direction of the military vehicle. The monster pierced the soldier's back with its sharp leg, pinning him to the ground, seemingly playing with its prey under its leg. The monster raised its head and let out a triumphant roar. Madness. Madness. Is this the human world or hell? Is this what the ancient books called a tumultuous world? It's too ferocious, it's like hell on earth. What Andrew found even scarier and maddening was that after the monster killed 2 soldiers, instead of chasing after another soldier who was almost climbing onto the military vehicle, it mockingly stared at him from downstairs. What the hell, why are you staring at me downstairs? Andrew thought, isn't there a soldier who fired at you over there? Andrew quickly looked downstairs and saw a woman in a white down jacket desperately climbing up from the window downstairs. The potential of humans in desperate situations is indeed tremendous. Downstairs, because they imitated his closed windows, they had long sealed off all the balcony windows with steel bars. However, this woman was able to climb up to the 2nd floor smoothly under the pressure of her potential. Andrew's room was on the 6th floor. Although it was a bit far, he didn't doubt the determination of this woman to climb to the top of the 12th floor. Andrew panicked. He realized that the monster had already regarded this woman as its prey. As someone who often watched Uncle David's Animal World, he could somewhat understand that animals in an absolute advantage situation would never let go of their prey. If this damn monster followed this woman and climbed up, what if it climbed to the 6th floor and slipped into his room? Although the building he was in had 12 floors, it seemed that it wouldn't be difficult for this damn monster to enter his room from any floor with its abnormal corrosive ability. Just as Andrew was racking his poor brain, the monster had already slowly climbed downstairs in a calm and unhurried manner. Its climbing method was very simple. It directly inserted its sharp limbs into the wall and climbed steadily upwards. Andrew estimated that everyone in the entire building was probably scared to death, including the expert upstairs. The whole world seemed to suddenly quiet down. The woman stubbornly continued to climb upwards, no longer able to shout for help. The monster was just 1 meter below her. Andrew believed that as long as the monster made a move, it could easily grab this woman with its pincers. She was probably doomed, Andrew thought. The monster indeed opened its pincers, showing that it had lost its patience and wanted to end this boring hunt as soon as possible. However, at this moment, the previously silent ancient book suddenly emitted a dazzling rainbow light. Andrew, who had already connected with the 4th-dimensional consciousness, instantly felt an immense power sweeping over him. In that instant, it seemed as if the vitality of the entire space was trembling. The monster, with its pincers wide open, seemed to also sense this immense power. It let out a cry that was completely different from the triumphant one just now. It sounded like a lament, even carrying a hint of fear. Then, in Andrew's stunned gaze, it flew back down the stairs, retreating at a faster speed than when it pounced on the soldier, and disappeared into the boundless darkness in just a few seconds. Andrew, with a puzzled look, picked up the ancient book that had returned to normal. In his mind, there were turbulent waves. The treasure left by his ancestors was indeed precious. Such a treasure had always served as a footstool in his family throughout the generations, which was truly ironic. The woman was saved, but after the threat disappeared in an instant, she couldn't move anymore after climbing to the 3rd floor. Although she didn't know why the monster suddenly panicked and left at the last moment, her brain no longer had the space to consider this question. With the help of kind neighbors on the 3rd floor, this woman who had escaped death finally entered the room on the 3rd floor, where she burst into tears. Andrew closed the small steel plate at the checkpoint. His back was already soaked in sweat. It was really too dangerous just now. If it wasn't for the ancient book shining again in time, not only would this woman have died in the monster's grip, but the entire building, including himself, would probably be in great danger. So he quickly tucked the ancient book into his arms, making up his mind to never let go of it, even if he had to go to the bathroom. According to the experts upstairs, that day everyone in the building was scared to the point of wetting their pants, but definitely not him. The woman was said to be the daughter of a wealthy businessman across the street. She and her boyfriend had obtained a permit from the military and went out for some fresh air. When they came back, they were suddenly attacked by the monster, resulting in the boyfriend's immediate death and the woman almost going crazy from fear. After this incident, the entire neighborhood and street became much quieter. Later, many experts came and took away the destroyed white Audi sports car and the liquid secreted by the monster. A tank and an armored vehicle were added to patrol the street, making Andrew marvel at the power of the wealthy district across the street. In the following days, contrary to Andrew's worries, a large number of monsters did not appear from all directions like a nightmare. However, according to the experts upstairs, monsters were also found in other places. The military used heavy machine guns and eliminated the monsters at the cost of several lives. Andrew felt anxious, constantly being struck by a sense of powerlessness. If it weren't for the ancient book supporting his belief, he didn't know if he would go crazy. Cultivate. Crazy cultivation. He must create the material storage elemental symbol, and then create the 6 armor elemental symbol. Andrew worked hard day and night. Of course, now that there was no sun, it was considered day and night no matter what. After 8 days, Andrew restored his energy reserves. In a state of readiness, he finally successfully created the first second-level elemental talisman, the Wu Na Yuan Fu. When the symbol representing Wu Na shot out golden light from the talisman, then suddenly contracted back, the floating talisman in the air shone brightly. Andrew was so excited that he almost wanted to shout. It took him nearly 30 days to make this. The process of using the material storage elemental symbol to collect items was very magical. Andrew manipulated the talisman with hand gestures and controlled its rotation. The talisman emitted yellow light and scanned the items in the room. Anything that was not fixed floated up. Then, according to Andrew's manipulation, magically following the yellow light, they gradually flew towards the talisman until they were sucked into the talisman, turning into strange symbols appearing on the talisman. After all the items to be collected were taken in, Andrew changed the incantation. The talisman floating in the air took the form of a beam of light and shot towards Andrew's forearm, sealing itself on his small arm. The whole process was complete. Through the fourth-dimensional divine sense, Andrew could naturally feel the activity of the talisman along his arm and conveniently sense all the collected items through the seal. This novel and wonderful feeling excited him for a long time. Unfortunately, this excitement didn't last long. A few days later, the sound of intense gunfire in the street made him nervous again.